Hello and welcome to this training video presented by the California Student Aid Commission. In this presentation, we're going to give a short general overview of WebGrants for Students, which is the student portal for state financial aid that is administered by the California Student Aid Commission, or CSAC for short. While this presentation is intended to be a quick introduction to WebGrants for Students and a few of its features, please note that we have many other online resources as well as a support team to assist students. First of all, what is WebGrants for Students? WebGrants for Students is the web portal that students can use to view and manage their Cal Grant and other state financial aid. WebGrants for Students also provides other valuable resources, tools, and information to help navigate the college financial aid process. All students who apply for financial aid in the state of California should have a WebGrants for Students account. Aside from managing Cal Grant accounts, WebGrants for Students allows students to do many different tasks. Students can check to see if their GPA was submitted, self-verify their high school graduation, update certain demographic information such as phone number or email address, place a hold on their Cal Grant award if they'll be taking time off from school or don't wish to be paid their Cal Grant until a later date. One very important task that students can easily do in WebGrants for Students is to confirm their college of attendance. That means they need to confirm that the correct college is showing as their college of attendance or make a school change to the correct college. Creating a WebGrants for Students account is easy. Remember that students must first complete a FAFSA or a California DREAM Act application before they can create a WebGrants for Students account. FAFSA filers will need to wait approximately 7 to 10 days before they can create an account, while California DREAM Act application filers can typically create their account within a day or two. WebGrants for Students is compatible with most devices. However, for ease of use, we recommend that students use a laptop or desktop computer to create their account if possible. Students can create their account using different browsers. We recommend using Chrome, Edge, or Firefox. Students will want to ensure that they're using the most up-to-date version of these browsers before they create their WebGrants for Students account. Unfortunately, there are some known compatibility issues with Apple products and the Apple Safari browser, so we don't recommend that you use Safari for the purposes of creating a WebGrants for Students account. Students can get to the WebGrants for Students landing page by visiting the link on the bottom of this slide, mygrantinfo.csac.ca.gov. They can also reach the WebGrants for Students landing page from the California Student Aid Commission website. From this page, the student can log into an existing account or create a new account if they've already completed a FAFSA or California DREAM Act application. Please take note of the links available to the student for two short YouTube videos that will help the student with account recovery or assist the student in creating an account by providing detailed instructions. In order to create a WebGrants for Students account after completing a financial aid application, the student will first complete the registration page using the exact same demographic information that they provided on the financial aid application. It is important that the name and other data fields match exactly in order to create an account. Then the student should check their email and follow all instructions to continue to create and then activate their account. If the student doesn't receive an email, they should check their junk or spam email folders before contacting CSAC. Remember that the California Student Aid Commission has a Create an Account video that will provide the student with step-by-step instructions. Once a student has successfully created their WebGrants for Students account, They will be required to use two-factor authentication each and every time they log in. It's important that the student have access to the email account associated with their WebGrants for Students account because they'll need it to get the verification password. When the student logs into their WebGrants for Students portal, they will start at the student homepage. Although we blacked it out here, please take note of the different identifiers associated with the student and the student's account shown on the right-hand side of this screen. For example, the student's date of birth, phone number, email address, etc. The student will be able to see their CSAC ID. It's a good idea to have that CSAC ID handy if the student needs to contact the Student Aid Commission or the financial aid office at their college, as it's one of the easiest ways to find a student's information. As the student continues to scroll down the page, they will see this section, which has important information about their financial aid. In this case, the student's Cal Grant Award. From left to right, we can see the award status, school of enrollment, current annual award amount, and how much remaining Cal Grant eligibility the student has left. The student can click on the Show Details arrow on each card to get more detailed information. Please note that if the student has a different type of state financial aid, for example, a middle class scholarship or a Chafee grant, the student will also see that information in exactly the same way. Remember, there are many resources available and a number of things a student can do on the account, but today we're just going to touch on a couple of important items. WebGrants for Students will always indicate the current award status. Here we can see the award status is awarded. That means the student completed and successfully submitted a FAFSA or a California DREAM Act application. That application was processed and the student met the requirements to receive a Cal Grant. If the student wants to see additional information about their award, they can click here to see a copy of the California Aid Report. The California Aid Report, or CAR, will show specific award information to the student. Now let's take a look at other award statuses a student may see on their account. A student may see different application statuses depending on the progress they've made with their application. For example, they may have an application status of incomplete. There are different reasons that the application status could be incomplete, but it typically indicates there's a problem with the application. For example, the application wasn't finished or remains unsigned. There could also be an internal system error. When the student sees this application status, they can click on the to-do list and it will provide additional information. If the application status is pending, that typically means that the student needs to confirm their school of attendance or submit some required documentation. Students can get additional information by clicking on the reason icon. Students should bear in mind that the application will stay in the pending status until the application is updated with either a confirmed school of attendance or the required documentation has been submitted. If the application status is awaiting processing, that means that the student's completed application has been received and it's simply waiting to process in our next processing cycle. Once again, when the student sees this application status, they can click on the reason icon and it will provide additional information. If the student is not awarded, they will see the not awarded status in their WebGrants for Students account. If a student clicks on the reason icon, they will see specifically why they were not awarded. Students should bear in mind that the not awarded status in WebGrants for Students refers only to the Cal Grant and does not necessarily mean they are not eligible for any financial aid. It's important that students have the correct college listed as their school of attendance. That is to say, the college the student is actually attending. Having the wrong college listed as the school of attendance could delay financial aid payments. By default, the system will use the first college the student has listed on their financial aid application. Even if that is the college that the student plans to attend, they will still need to confirm it in their WebGrants for Students account. If a student's going to change from one college to another, it's also easy to make a school change in WebGrants for Students. When the student clicks on the School Change button, they will see this screen. The college that is currently listed will be displayed. In order to change the school of attendance, the student will need to search for the new school and then select Choose this school using the button below. If a student has a Cal Grant, they have the ability to place that Cal Grant on hold for a semester, 2 semesters, even up to 2 full academic years. When the Cal Grant is placed on hold, no payments will be made and no eligibility will be used. A student may choose to put their Cal Grant on hold if they're going to take time off of school or if they just want to save their remaining Cal Grant eligibility, for example, to use at a 4-year university. To place a Cal Grant on hold, students would simply click the Place Hold button that can be seen here on the right under Remaining Eligibility. A pop-up will appear and give the student the option of placing the Cal Grant on hold for 1 semester or both semesters or quarters if the student is going to a quarter school. Thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation on WebGrants for Students. We hope that you found it helpful. Please remember that there are many other resources available for WebGrants for Students and trained staff here at the California Student Aid Commission that can help students resolve any issues.